Hello there everyone, it's me Funk doing a bit of a more technical video today. If you didn't know, I actually do all of my Source Filmmaker thumbnails and posters myself. I've been doing Source Filmmaker since about 2013. Not that I would call myself particularly good at it, especially in animation, I'm not that great. But over time I've actually become pretty decent at making thumbnails, and I thought I'd do a little video where I show you kind of a test thumbnail, which will be kind of running through the process start to finish of me making a thumbnail. It's going to be a longer one, probably a lot more boring if you don't know what Source Filmmaker is and stuff like that. You might learn some stuff, you might not, you might just see what my process is like. If you don't know what Source Filmmaker is, you might just like seeing how a poster is made, but otherwise I can't really tell you the process. I'm not going to be explaining everything, I'm mostly just going to be explaining design details, a couple of twinks in like how to get lighting certain ways and stuff like that, but it's not going to be like how to move, how to animate, stuff like that. It's just going to be purely how I make my posters and thumbnails and stuff like that. So if you're you're into that kind of thing, then stick around. I'll probably speed up long boring parts, but I will try to slice in as much information and stuff as I can. I'm going to be a little quiet because if you look in the bottom right, it's almost 3 a.m. So I don't want to wake anybody in my house, but I really feel like making this video. So what better time than 3 a.m. So starting out, when I usually make a thumbnail, I do it on whatever map in the video is relevant to the video. So if I do a video on Thunder Mountain, then I'll do the thumbnail on Thunder Mountain. Occasionally it might be different if the map doesn't matter, if I don't need to show what map because it's like a solid texture or anything. For the sake of convenience, I'm gonna put it on Gold Rush because I really like Gold Rush in terms of design, mostly because of the skybox. You can manually change the skybox using SV_skyname in console, I think. It might be something else. But I like just loading up Gold Rush because it's the quickest way. Pretty easy. You have all the props to work with, stuff like that. Once again, I don't have any particular thumbnail that I'm making right here for this tutorial. I'm just going to be kind of just bullshitting it as I go, so I'll probably throw in a scout with the co-pilot and the Dead of Night because I've been wearing the Dead of Night recently, which they made all class, and it's like the coolest shirt ever. They have it for heavy, and it looks like a fight. It looks like the dog fighter, you know, for the engineer, but like buckled up. It's kind of like a nice pilot shirt, and I really like pilot cosmetics. Anyways, I'm gonna cut to when I have the map set up and loaded. Yep, this happens. Sometimes Source Filmmaker will just stop responding. I just let it go. I just let it wait it out. Okay, I am on Gold Rush now, so the first thing I usually do is make camera 1 by hitting C, and I just move out to a nice old spot for me to make a thumbnail. I like to get the whole skybox in there. What I like about this one is it's blue on top, yellowish on bottom, so it kind of gives you that bottom highlight. But these are all weird terms. All you really need to know is making a thumbnail. So what I do now is, for the sake of the video, I'm going to be dragging a scout and just positioning him kind of funny in the air. I want him to be in front of the skybox, have a nice background, stuff like that. I'm gonna go ahead and open existing, what is it called? Existing element for the camera. That way I can go mess with the lenses. I prefer to stay around 35 to between 24 and 50. Are the ones that I generally use for thumbnails. I really like, what is this, 35 I think? But it's different for pretty much every thumbnail. Sometimes it'll be super low. Sometimes it will be super high, and then I'll thrust the camera really close. It's all dependent on what I think looks best. So this is kind of following suit with the last thumbnail I did, which is a scout on this map with the co-pilot, stuff like that. But I will deck it out a little bit more with other stuff. So I'm going to import items. One for the co-pilot, which is the hat that I wear a lot on Scout. It's not like my signature or anything. At this point, it kind of is my signature. But that's not really the point. So I do know how to custom rig and animate and move around people. If I wanted to give a nice old thumbs up for the camera, you know, I can get him to do that. It's better to do it with a rig, but it takes a while to actually put that onto the model, and I can't implement sequences if I have a rig on it. So for the sake of convenience, I'm not going to show you a rig. Actually, I will show you after this though. So I'm lazy, and what I like to do is steal existing taunts. So I find one that kind of has like a nice base taunt. I like the come and get me, and then I'll play out the time frame to something that looks good. So I'll hit M, and then I'll just delete both of these using the bracket keys and delete. So now I have a still scout. Oops, I need to make that untouchable. Now I have a still scout. If I play the timeline, you'll notice he doesn't move or anything. He just kind of stands funny. See, look at that. That is a pretty funny looking thing right there. Notice it's kind of stale though. He's got no looks on his face. He's still kind of a bit oddly, how is it posed? You notice like this grainy, blocky goodness on his skin. What is that? What the heck is that? I'll show you how to fix that and such in a bit, but first I'm going to show you the rig, which a lot of times I won't leave it completely normal. I will do a bit of touching up, although this one actually doesn't look too bad. I like using two cameras, by the way. It helps me just kind of see everything I'm doing. So you'll notice it's kind of like a puppet now, and I can move it around as I please. If I want him to have a hand up, like, hey, bada boo, bada beep, what's going on here? I can do that. I can make him all like upset, like, hey, what's the deal with the bad Italian accents? I'm 50% Italian. I don't know why I'm talking like that. Anyways, yeah, I can have him do this stuff. It's good to look at it from multiple angles. That way you can kind of figure out how good it actually looks in the third dimension, although what's most important is that it looks good for a thumbnail, so none of that really matters. Gonna adjust the elbows a bit. I'm gonna give him a bit of an upset face, because it's clear that he's not happy with what's going on here. So put a little frown on his face, get his eyes centered. Maybe he's looking at something in the distance. Alright, yeah, something like that. And so the left and right slider allows you to move single parts of the face. So for instance, only moving this side. So I like that. Gonna be kind of a questioning face. Let's bring up the nose a little bit. Let's maybe pucker his lips some. Get a little gap in there. Oh, it kind of looks like he's in the middle of saying something, or at least giving kind of a funny face. You know, there it is. There's that funny face. So the rule of thirds, which is really good for thumbnails, is kind of that you want stuff to line up with, like, pretend there's a line here and here, as well as here and here. You kind of want it to line up. So like that would be good. For thumbnails, I like to have it a little more center because rule of thirds doesn't apply quite as much. It's not like a poster. It's just a small little thing to catch attention. So having stuff in the middle works decently. As long as it's not too... If it's not like... If I had it like this, that would look weird. If it had like this, or even that, that'd be weird. But I kind of have it in the middle, a little bit to the side, which looks pretty decent. And then I'll kind of spin the camera a little bit, just to give it a little more pizzazz. So here's where we get to the funner parts of it. I can also adjust the body and stuff if I want to, by the way, but I'm pretty happy with that whole thing. So we're gonna get into the fun part, which is mostly making it look nice. So for one, you'll notice this grain is still here. You fix this by messing with SSAO bias. I like to move this up to be like just past the S's. I like to move radius down to right around here. and strength to right around there. These change all depending on the scene and stuff, but that's generally what I do. And you'll notice it's a bit better with the grain. The grain is still there. You fix that by setting that really high. I turn off motion blur, leave the rest. And if you go to this normal timeline, you'll notice it'll kind of soften it out. I think it does it on this side. Yeah, so there's no like grainy issues. Grain is not an issue, but you'll notice the lighting is still very flat. So nothing's really casting a shadow here. I've told you, everything's flat. So here's the funnest part of Source Filmmaker, the lighting. I really like lighting. So I'm just gonna put it in a nice location. And you'll notice it's very bright, so I'm gonna turn it down a bit. There's still not really a notable shadow anywhere. It looks better, but there's no shadow. So do this. Bam. You got a shadow on the fly. Perfect. That's pretty much what I'm looking for. You'll notice there's a little shadow right there. I'm going to give a little tint of color to this. That way it doesn't look completely oddball. So am I done? No, I like to add tons and tons of fucking rim lights. You think you don't have enough fucking rim lights? You need at least 3 more fucking rim lights. Look at that. Look at that chin. That jawline. Oh, beautiful. Check it without shadows. That way you can get behind everything. I love it. I did not want to make another model. I wanted to make this. Look in the background. It's all like really normally not sticking out colors. You don't need to make it too crazy, but I'm gonna go put this in position and light this up a bit. Do the same thing, shadow filter size, and now you got a nice little color in the background too. Adds a little more depth to the scene. That way it doesn't look completely flat. Sometimes you might want it to look flat, and that's fine. Personally, I like to have a little bit of pizzazz going along with the instruments that I'm working with. I'll get one more in there for down here. Right around there. Turn that down a bit because I don't want it too standy outy. And this is pretty much what a thumbnail looks like. You can mess with the focal distance, which is, you'll see in a second. Aperture is kind of how blurry it's going to be when you actually render it out. So if I go here, you'll notice the background is going to get super blurry, which can look pretty good for thumbnails. I like to keep the aperture lower, not too much, because, yeah, right around this is what makes a pretty nice thumbnail. So yeah, this is kind of just the basics of what it's like to make a thumbnail, at least for me. Obviously, there's more detail in the specific things. If I wanted him to be like holding a bat, then I could just go look up BAT. I think it's like C_bat. Yeah, so I would go into work camera, and I would toss this straight up into his hand, and suddenly it's a whole new thing. Maybe the whole video is about him using a bat for something. By him, I mean me. Then I'd have to go to the hand, enable the fingers, and then I'd have to line all the fingers up to go around the bat. There are kind of ways to get around this by using sequences and stuff. For the sake of convenience, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to kind of wrap his fingers around it, kind of giving it a Twinkie hold. He needs to get like his hands like deep on that bat. Anyways, yeah, this is just kind of the semantics of making a poster. I'm not going to refine it too much. You get the idea. This is him holding a bat. And get in position. Now I'm going to lock the bat, which is this, I believe, right here, to the hand. So I'll take that. I'll go back to procedural. Just playhead. And now if I move around the hand, the bat will move with it. So I can move him to be like looking at the bat and be like, hey, yo, what's the deal with bats? God, I really need to get some sleep. There. It's good to have like some distance to it, so I might have him stretch out. You'll notice this little triangle is the camera. Have him stretch it towards the camera. Not too far, that's a little weird. And just like this. Just like this. Maybe like this? Yeah, it's kind of like a lightsaber or a penis, depending on who you ask. And then I'll get him. Wow, you look really deformed here, Scout. I'm sorry, I've messed up this entire poster, but what can you say? It's kind of a unrefined thing. Then I'll get his face looking down and to the right a little bit. There you go. And there is a bat-oriented poster. This looks so bad. It's literally just a penis. Look. It's a penis bat. Congratulations, Justin. This is what you've done with your life. You're making penis bat tutorial posters. Oh my god. I have to make it like it's an actual penis. I'm sorry, guys. This is not even a tutorial anymore. This is just an 18 plus. This is just an 18 plus video. Ah, and then he's like stroking it. And he's got his head up here. Let's give him some closed eyes too. Like he's really enjoying himself. Let's get it like this, eyes up. Little like this. Give him a huge fucking smile. A huge fucking platypus smile. Like this. Yeah, that's fucking perfect. Yeah, that's I'm fucking 12. Jesus Christ. I'm fucking 12. Alright, maybe I'd be better off like this. Yeah, right around there's fine. Okay, and that's the conclusion of how to make a penis bat poster for Source Filmmaker. I'm an awful person. By the way, these are going to be very large rendering times because of the 1024 depth of field or whatever. But when you get it done, that'll be pretty neato. Now that I have that, that's not the end of it. Now I need to go to my Source Filmmaker, game, user mod, elements, renders, poster bat penis. That's it. And once you get here is when I'm going to be doing some more editing in Photoshop. So that's not all of it. There's actually a bit more editing that goes into making a poster. Optionally, I could also just ship it like this and it would be fine, but I do like to do a bit more refinement to it. For one, optionally, sometimes I'll give it a bit of a vignette or whatever that's called. Vignette. I go to filter gallery. Wait, no, that's not filter gallery. Lens correction is the correct one. Vignette, I think is what it's called. I don't know these terms. So I do this, set it to multiply, and now there's a bit of a dark outline around the edges, which gives it that kind of nice wrap around. Without it, it's a bit more open. With it, kind of focuses you more on the middle of it. You can also add some vibrance to it if you want to give it some more color. If it's not colorful enough for you, not that much of a difference. Basically just doing whatever you want. You want it less colored, then it's less colored. I like it like that kind of actually. A bit less colored, but not quite as much as I had it. Same thing, vibrance down about 23. Yeah, that's good. I like that. And then vibrance. I can also do like a photo filter, which makes it all a bit more one-colored. If you kind of want to give it that postery feel. There are other things that I'm not quite too good at, but I will still attempt, like making the darker parts darker, stuff like that. So here is a theoretically edited about poster. Maybe now it looks a little nicer. Maybe you want to give it like a rain overlay or something. You can do that. But for the sake of the video, this should be the end of it. it'll be the thumbnail for this video. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something about Funk, in that he's got terrible maturity level. Have a good day. Bye.